Last night, from the cypress branch, the nightingale sang, in old Persian tones, the lesson of spiritual stations, spoken by Hafez, the poet of Shiraz. We are going to the city of Shiraz, and must set aside for now visitation to several other great spiritual stations and ruins in southern Iran. These, however, are equally important human legacies of the pre-Islamic era, including the Zoroastrian citadels of Yaz, neighboring Caravanserai, and the second or third oldest living tree in the world, a cypress that is still cultivated. Other keys to Persia's founding history are found where Cyrus the Great ruled on the now sparsely populated Pasargadae plains, and his lonely tomb has languished for more than 2,000 years. Where the tombs of the emperors Darius and Xerxes were bored into barren cliffs. And most astonishingly, where the colossal capital of the Dariuses, known as Persepolis, still conveys a mystique of power that few other places in the world can match. Shiraz itself is one of the oldest cities of ancient Persia, founded maybe in 2000 BC. Straddling the bank of the aptly named Dry River, the city of literature, wine, and flowers is exactly that. Its culture and art are startling and awe-inspiring. The whirl of colors and commerce unceasing, whether at night or day. Iran's third largest city, located about 500 miles south of Tehran, shelters almost 2 million people, including substantial Jewish, Christian, and Baha'i communities. Some Shirazis privately practice Zoroastrianism. In the Achaemenid era, BC, Shiraz served merchants on the road from Susa to Persepolis and Pasargadae. The city was spared destruction by the Mongols of Genghis Khan after its governor offered tribute, and then the population shrank in size throughout the Middle Ages. Still, men of letters, philosophy, and religion resided here in greater numbers than any other place in Iran. Iran's most famous poet and writer, otherwise called the Memorizer and the Safekeeper, lived here from 1315 to 1390 and wrote of love and wine. Hafez offered proverbs that are savored today everywhere in the world, even in the U.S. While visiting an acquaintance's home in Virginia after my return from Iran, I mentioned the name Hafez and was promptly presented with a well-worn publication of his poems. On one Friday evening, I joined a formidable line of people assembled at the entrance to Hafez's mausoleum at the Musalla Gardens in Shiraz. Young people and romantics frolic under orange trees, oaks, and cypresses. One solemn gentleman with open Quran and writings of Hafez consoles a weeping woman who afterwards slips him some coin and passes on into the darkness. The current mausoleum was designed by André Godard, a French archaeologist and architect, in the late 1930s. And October 12 is celebrated as Hafez Day throughout Iran. Other highlights of the city include Karim Khan Citadel, built in the 18th century. This fortification has variously served as military quarters, as a governor's residence, and as a prison. The structure's one leaning tower is particularly arresting. College students of art gather in the shade in apparent attempt to capture the simplicity of this wall and its brick aura, probably because it represents a distinct departure from the extreme refined complexity of the porcelains and plasters that decorate the majority of Shiraz's historical sites and mosques. Away from the hubbub, the Iram garden is a world apart. Iram is the Persian version of the Arabic word Iram, which means heaven in Islam's Quran. The beautiful three-story building constructed in the garden is based on the Safavid and Qajar styles of architecture and includes tiles inscribed with poems from Hafez. The Nasir al-Mulk Mosque, or the Pink Mosque, is another architectural masterpiece and an example of purely beautiful Islam. Once again, the visual effects overpower any effort by me to translate their full impact into words. The main entrance and facade entails a 5-concave structural effect that, with the multiple fluted arches, presents gateway after gateway into the presence of the holy sanctuary. That sanctuary, the courtyard, offers entrance to buildings that outwardly are less extravagant. Because the woman I love lives inside of you, I lean as close to your body with my words as I can. And I think of you all the time, dear pilgrim. Hafez. Within one large hall, also referred to as the Women's Mosque, is a light show repository replenished all day long by stained glass windows. Built from 1876 to 1888 under the order of Mirza Hassan Ali, a Qajar ruler, the designated worship area is especially picturesque in the morning, when sunlight creates a kaleidoscope of colors, splashed against the tiled walls, colorful Persian rugs, and modeling young women. As the sun moves and the day progresses, the intensity and tint of the colors enveloping a visitor are constantly changing. Whether the Pink Mosque is one of Islam's most beautiful worship rooms is debatable, but the stained glass is something very rare in mosque architecture. While the sun is playing with the mosque, a mountain shadow slowly uncovers the sleeping city. Shiraz's air has the smell of money and the fragrance of spices. Like the bazaars in Tehran and other Iranian cities, merchants stuff the caverns of Vakil Market, constructed in the Middle Ages, with condiments, copper, rugs, cloth, and every other imaginable object. The bazaar, of course, fed the appetites of the region's rulers and entrepreneurs from as long ago as the 13th century. In another suburb of the city, Kavam Garden, built during the rule of Nasser ad-Din Shah by the order of the Ali Muhammad Khan Kavam, is the yard of the Zinat Old Molk House. Decorations include mirror works, paintings, carvings, brickworks, fretworks, stone cuttings, plastering, and vaulted ceilings. Change rooms in your mind for a day, Hafez said. The fixtures and plasters and mirrors reflect back to oneself as daylight fades but casts rays and shadows through porticos and windows. And then moonlight turns the garden and house into a poem.